Okay, Dad, so this is a quick video. Hopefully the audio is okay, but it's a quick video on Tony the Droney and how to set him up. So I've taken everything out of the bag here. So the first thing I'm going to go through is just show you all the pieces that you will need to fly. Okay, I'll show you how to put them all together, where they all go, and then I'm going to show you the extra pieces that are in the bag that you will need, but not necessarily for flying. Alright, so, and bear with me, I'm attempting to do this with one hand, it's a little bit tricky. Obviously you have Tony the Droney here. Okay, I'm going to tilt him on his back there. Now obviously this is where the battery goes, pretty intuitive. Battery is here, and this slides in like such, and you push it in and it clicks, and it is all the way in. To remove it, you need two hands, because you need one hand sort of firmly grasping the top, and then the other hand you click these two and you pull them out, okay? Now I'm not going to do it all that simply, it's some of it's pretty straightforward, but I'm just giving you a quick rundown. So that's the battery. The next thing you're going to want to do is put the, just sitting down, you're going to put the 4 propellers on here. Now you notice the 4 propellers, 2 black, 2 silver. Very straightforward. You're going to need your glasses for this. On the top of the 4 motors, there's either no dot, you see how there's no dot on the top, and there's a black dot. Well, as you can imagine, the black ones go to the black dot, the silver ones go to the no dot. Any questions? Actually, if you have a question there, then I'm not actually comfortable with you flying the drone. So I'm not gonna put them on, but they're there. And then the last thing to fly the drone is to have the remote control. So obviously this is the remote control. The antenna doesn't have to be up, it can be to the side, and you are good to go. To turn it on, you would turn that on first. You hear the beep, and then you're going to turn the helicopter on, the quadcopter, and you have to imagine that the propellers are on here. And then you would press it once, and then press again and hold until you hear the beep. And now it is going into sort of GPS search mode. Okay? That is how to get up and operational and to start flying. Alright, now I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to turn that off. Now so far all I've told you about is the quadcopter side, okay? Now the other side is the GPS. Oh, and actually, sorry Dad, one more thing. With the helicopter blades, you'll notice that they spin on in 2 different directions. You're going to have to look closely. The black ones spin onto the quadcopter counterclockwise, the silver ones spin clockwise. You will figure it out because they are threaded the correct way. So now the quadcopter, we've talked about that. The next is the GoPro. Now unfortunately the GoPro battery is dead right now, but to turn it on, pretty straightforward. You press and hold that. I don't think it's going to turn on. Oh, it does. Turns on. It says no SD. I have the SD card here, and I will be putting that in for you. We'll go through transferring the imagery later. Okay. You'll notice on the side here, there is a black cable that sticks into the side of the GoPro. That, in order to transmit the video, which we'll go through in a second, transmitting the video down to you at the ground station, this needs to be plugged in. If it's not plugged in, then the video transmission will not come through. So this is an important cable. The reason I'm telling you about this is because in order to charge the GoPro, which you will need to do upon receiving the whole system, you need to take this plug out, pop it out there, drop that on the ground, and then you need to plug a mini USB charging cable into that. Now, I think you should have one lying around. It's pretty straightforward. You figure it out, plug it in, charge it. It charges for an hour or so, and then you are charged up, ready to go. When you're all done charging the GoPro, simply put this cable back into the slot there. Okay? Now, the other thing with the GoPro is the mini SD card, and I'm trying to do this one-handed, but this is an SD card, and I don't know if I can, sorry, there we go. That is the mini SD. Mini SD. This is a mini SD like adapter. So obviously it's very small. You might have to get one of the either mom or a work camper or someone to help you. but you take this little mini SD and it goes in the side of the GoPro. So it pops in like that, and it kind of clicks into place. You know, there's only so much that I can show you on the video. You're gonna kind of have to figure this out for yourself. I'm doing my best. So pop that in. I am using a positive. Ali's telling me to use a positive voice. This is a positive voice. So you pop that in, and then it won't say no SD, and you can actually film. Okay, so that is the GoPro. Make sure it's charged. To actually start filming, you know how to use it. You know the GoPro. The last thing on the helicopter to get up and flying and doing everything perfectly, I've shown you how to turn the controller on, turn the quadcopter on. The last thing you're going to want to do is set up the monitor here so that you can have a live video transmission from the helicopter down to you at the ground station, so you can see what the helicopter sees. Now, this is good for, not necessarily for flying. You wouldn't want to fly like this, kind of like you know, the U.S. military drones, but you can frame your shots. So framing the shots is important, obviously, for what you're doing and what I was doing. Now, here, so this system has two antennae. You need to plug one of them, the one with the L on the end, goes onto the quadcopter. The one that's straight will go onto the ground station. So first, I'm not going to do it because I only have one hand, but that just threads on there. It's a little, I don't know, AV output or something like that. But you screw that on, and then it sort of sits on the back here. You'll notice there's some duct tape. It all kind of is held on there. Then the ground station actually is not too complicated. But what I've done here is I've rigged up this little setup here. It's carbon fiber. It's supposed to be for this exact setup, but it didn't come with all the necessary parts, so I kind of had to jerry-rig and finagle some of the pieces. I'm going to have to stop the video so that I can plug this in, but what I'm going to do, and you'll figure this out, is you take this little screw that is on the string here, and you plop it through there, so that way it can slide along the side, and then you simply screw it onto the base of the little monitor here. Okay, so I'm going to stop, and then I will show you that in a second. Okay, so now we're back, and you can see that the monitor is now screwed on there. Okay, pretty straightforward. If you need help with any of this engineering, please call Jim Cisco, because I have a lot of confidence in his ability to figure this out. Now, if you flip it over, you can see quite a few cables. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through each one. These two red cables with black on the end are the power cables. So one of them needs to go in and power the receiver, which is this piece here. So you have the receiver on the back and then the monitor on the front. You'll see it when you get there. The smaller of the two plugs, I'll show you the other one, smaller of the two plugs, so the one on the left here, plugs in just over underneath, oops, sorry, plugs in underneath the receiver. So if we move that over a little bit, it would plug in just there. Okay, pretty straightforward. Again, with one hand it's difficult. And then the other one that needs, the other cable that needs to plug into the receiver is this one. It looks like a headphone jack, and that goes into AV out too. Okay, make sure they're both plugged in securely and not gonna fall out. And then over on the side, flip this over on the side, there are two other cables that need to be plugged into the screen. So they are here. You have, very simply, yellow. That's going to go up here to yellow. That is a simple connection. If I can do it with one hand. Plug that in there, make sure it's secure. And then the last one is this thicker power cable, and that's going to go into the red. So I'm kind of doing this so that you have a video reference, and if need be, I'll put it on YouTube. Then when you first set this up, you can kind of go, you know, pause this as needed. Okay, so all in all, there's 4 connections that need to be made to get the monitor going. And then the fifth connection is the very last one, is the battery. So there's a battery over on this side. It's a small little 2-cell, like 54 or 540 milliamp battery. It's tiny. And you plug this little guy in here. I can't do it with one hand, but you plug that in. And once you do that, then the TV monitor will be on, okay? So again, 4 cables that connect the receiver with the TV with the battery, sort of in a circular loop type thing. And then the last one is you plug in the battery connection, so then it's all powered, and that is all on. Once you do that, if we had battery power in the GoPro, I could show you all this, but I don't have batteries, so I can't show you. Once you have that, then when the drone is on, and only when it's on, will it send the video signal down from the GoPro over to here. So you have to have the drone on, you have to have the GoPro on, you have to have the GoPro plugged in, and you have to have all 5 connections over here set up, and then everything will be powered on. That's pretty much it. Once you have all that, then you are pretty much good to fly. The last thing, this other antenna just goes on the top there. So get your two antenna. The L-shaped one again was for the drone. The straight one is for the top of the monitor. And it actually doesn't matter. They're both just transmitters. So that's pretty much it. A couple other things. The battery on the GoPro will last for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. I oftentimes forget to turn it off and the battery dies, so that's why it's dead right now. The battery in the drone, I'll write all this down, but it lasts for maybe 15 minutes, and we're gonna discuss how you should have a watch or a timer set on your phone so that it beeps after 12 minutes so that you bring the drone home, because that's one of the easiest things to do. You're flying around and you're thinking you have enough time, and then you don't. So battery in the GoPro, battery on the drone, and then battery on the monitor. Now the battery on the monitor, I'm sending you all the connections. You might have to figure it out, but the battery on the monitor usually lasts for quite a while. I've only charged it once in the 30 odd flights that I've done, because this does not draw much power. So you might have to charge that at some point, but not every day. The one you will have to charge often, drone and the GoPro. All right, so now I'm gonna stop again, and we're gonna go up to the bag, and I'm gonna show you the extras. Okay, Dad, so last little video. So the drone is there. You'll notice I've taken the battery out, and obviously the drone fits in the middle compartment, and it's a little bit longer left to right as it is top to bottom, so just kind of figure it out. So we'll start sort of at the top here. The monitor slides in there. Then over here on the left, you've got the battery, a little slot for the battery, and then you've also got this cable. Now underneath this cable is a little like box that transmits power or whatever. You'll notice that's a Hong Kong connection, so you're going to need a converter. But this is to charge the small battery that is on the receiver. So this is the small battery, charging the small battery that powers the monitor. So back here on the receiver, the transmitter, this little battery that's on the other side in here, that's all taped up, that I told you won't have to charge very often. Well, when you do have to charge it, that's what you're going to use. Moving back here, you've got a connection, a cable in there. You probably won't ever need that. The actual transmitter back in there. And then your two antennas here. And just slot into there. I have a little slot for the SD card adapter. Don't touch that, you won't ever need that, so check the battery, but it doesn't really make a difference. Moving over onto this side, there's a bunch of connections and cables and my stuff. You won't really need any of that. You can take a look at it if you like. And then in here, this is part of the battery connection to charge the drone battery. So you'll notice that this is an American plug, so that's nice and convenient for you. Oh, and you know what? I think this video is on its side. Oh, we'll have to come to it. So this is part of the connection. And then the other part is under here. I've sort of cut away a slot so it sits at the bottom, but you kind of slide this out. This is the AC power adapter. So the AC power adapter, this connection goes in there, plug it into the wall, and then this guy, a little bit tricky to figure out, but essentially you flip that back, and then that would slide into these connections. You'll figure it out. It's not too hard. So the battery lasts for about 15 minutes and then charges probably for an hour and a half or so. And you'll be able to tell when it's charging. We'll go over all this in the documents as well. So that is pretty much it. I think it's everything you need to know. And that is, yeah, I think that's all. So I'm going to box it all up, and today is the Friday the 14th. I'm going to ship it off, and you should have it in a few weeks.